Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're not going to want to miss this video. I got some new information. I got some new ideas. I've been digging in the charts, looking at certain things, and I'm feeling a little bit better about what I'm seeing here now. So let's jump into it. So I'm going to get into Bitcoin, but just real quick here, CRV. This is not financial advice, by the way, but I'm looking at CRV and I'm like, wow, this thing looks like a really good buying opportunity, if I have to be completely honest. It is at its potential cycle low here, and it's got a really good, interesting shape here. And, I like how, first of all, we had 5 waves to the upside, right? And then we had a pretty big dump. And what's important though is when you have this sort of consolidation here, right, and then you break to the downside, that's usually the finishing move of that sort of cycle, right? So to me, this could be one of the biggest generational buys of CRV. I'm not endorsing CRV. I don't even really know what CRV is. I'm just letting you know this could be a very good opportunity here for CRV, considering the fact, right, that a lot of coins came up and they broke out of their range and then they came back to back test their range like Theta. So it could be that CRV just had an extended range that broke to the downside. Now I'm going to show you an example. So the bottom chart, you have ICP, Internet Computer, but it's the same with Theta as well. I mean, there's a lot of charts that look like that, right? So basically, let me take a screenshot here, or actually, let me just draw it right here. So pretty much, looking at ICP, right? You came down, you had this range, right? And then essentially you broke out of the range and now you're back testing it, right? So when you look at CRV, it also created a range, but it broke it to the downside. The same thing that happened with Theta as well. So right here is actually, when I started doing YouTube videos right in here. So at that time, that was pretty much the low. So that could be correlated with something right here. So, in my opinion, it kind of looks like CRV, the range, right, was extended a little bit further, and it had this liquidity grab down here, similar to the way that it grabbed liquidity for ICP. So yeah, here's the fractal, right? I mean, you can see everything lines up really nicely, right? You have this wave down here, right? You come back, hit the high, and then it looks like a spring or essentially a Wyckoff pattern, right? This sort of M shape Wyckoff pattern where it comes down, and here's your support, right? It grabs that liquidity. So the same thing here. Here's your support. It comes down, grabs that liquidity, and then it takes it to the upside, and then it takes it to the upside. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm not saying that the low is in, right? We could still have one more wave to the downside, but as far as dollar cost averaging goes, I just wanted to put it out there for the record that I am starting to dollar cost average on CRV. So I looked at the market cap. It's a very low market cap, like I think less than 200 million or so. So it has a lot of upside potential. So this could be a 20x potential here, right? I'm not sure. DAO stands for Digital Autonomous Organization. I'm not sure about really the fundamentals. I was reading a little bit about it. But if you know more about it, let me know in the comment section what you guys think of CRV. It's been trading a while. It just, been trying to find that low, and I think it did. I think it's right there, right? Now, of course, Bitcoin has to, this is all contingent on Bitcoin being in a fourth wave and us getting that fifth wave to the upside, which I believe that's going to happen. I mean, just real quick here with AVAX, it has that same kind of range, right? Where you have a low, lower low, lower low, right? Same thing here with ICP, same thing with AVAX. And then when you look at CRV, it's actually just completed its low. So that's why I'm saying it could be a good area here. We also have, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 waves down, and then we have this 3-wave move in the middle here, right? And then we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So this looks like an a B, right? Or actually the B's over here, and then the C, right? So what we want to see here now, and you can say, well, who cares about CRV, right? Like, who cares? But the reason I'm showing this, again, I'm not a fan of CRV. I don't even know what it is. The reason I'm sharing this is because when, certain assets, are telling a different story, right, than other assets, then it could mean a lot, right? And at the end of the day, they're all telling the same story. They're all going to be, somewhat correlated, rather it be from the upside or from the downside. So, if CRV looks like it's shaping up to be one incredible buy here. I mean, we even broke below back over here. Now it is a lot of, it is more riskier, right? Because you've already broken the low. I mean, this thing can just go to zero. You just don't know. But, based off where it is, it's already at these cycle lows here, right? So that you would think there's a lot of support and not much more downside potential, which really means you have a lot of upside potential, right? So from here all the way up, I mean, you're looking at potentially a 20x move there on CRV. And then also the way that it looks, right? If this thing is getting ready to finish here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we might need a little bit more downside, right? We might, if I zoom in even closer on the daily chart, we're going to jump into Theta, we're going to jump into XRP, we're going to jump into Bitcoin, right? We're going to look at the altcoins. So, sit tight, but just real quick here, to me, this is important because if this thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this could be a 1, 2, right? And we could be getting ready for that third wave, or maybe we build some kind of base down in here and then we hit the low, creating some divergence and then break out, maybe a Wyckoff pattern, something like that. So if that's the case, it's hashing out a bottoming process. And the way it looks is, this is I'm not talking tomorrow or next week. I'm talking about the macro picture here for CRV. So it could take some time, but I think it's hashing out a bottom here. And since this chart looks like this, right, that basically speaks volumes about other charts, right, that don't have this similar look, right? Because most of the charts, they came up, they broke out, they back tested, and then they continued, or I'm sorry, they came back, they back tested, and now they're basically sitting here, right, at their back test levels like Theta and things like that. But this one had more of a deviation, so there's divergence between this coin and the rest of the kind of the consensus. So they're basically all going down, right? This one just happened to take out its range here. So it actually looks pretty decent here. And that's kind of what Bitcoin did as well back in the day. So you can see how it's coming from a downtrend. It's doing this washing machine thing. It's in a tight range, and then bam, it breaks. Basically, pushing out all the weak hands. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And they sell it and they get out. But actually that marks kind of the low. Let me show you. Similar to what happened over here with Bitcoin, you can see it's kind of the same thing, how it's coming down, right? It kind of built a range, it's going back up, going down, up, down, and then it finally breaks it to the downside. I can't take it anymore. Everybody sells, but that actually ends up being the absolute low for Bitcoin. That would have been the best buy of your life for Bitcoin, which is basically right here. So we're translating that to CRV. Mind you, this coin has a lot less market cap, which means it has much more room to gallop a lot of ROI potential here. So looking at this, so again, take a mental screenshot of that, right? We're coming down, you can see all of this consolidation, and then bam, we have one more low that takes us out, and then we start continuing the uptrend, and you can see what happened after that, right? I mean, that's when Bitcoin really exploded to the upside, was this final little range breakdown here. So again, take a mental screenshot of that, right? And then look even at Algorand right here. You can see something similar, right? We had this low here, we broke it to the downside. That was the absolute low. I mean, even Theta as well, right? I mean, it had this this low down in here. It's not as perfect, but you can kind of see, right? We had essentially this whole thing, right, was a range, and you can see right here we actually broke it to the downside, right? So, but again, CRV, right? Right here, we have this area right here, same kind of thing. We're breaking to the downside, right? And you can say, oh, it's bearish, we're going to keep going lower, right? It could be a descending triangle, CRV is going to die. And maybe that's true. But, from a risk perspective, it's gone down quite a bit. And the overall look of it is basically giving me flashbacks of many times where I've seen this structure before, where essentially you're coming, you had an uptrend and then you're coming back down, right? And then you kind of build this big base in here where you think it's over, and then bam, you hit that low one more time. So even, for example, you can kind of see Bitcoin did something kind of similar to that, where it consolidated in a range and then it broke to the downside. That ended up being the absolute low. I actually remember that time. Incredible move to the downside. Got a lot of people bearish. So anyways, it got down to the 3,000. Imagine getting Bitcoin, at $3,800. I mean, that was the reality of it. So anyways, that was that situation. And then we have this one here as well, where Bitcoin kind of does something similar, where it makes its way down. It's consolidating, right? Overlapping, chopping, basically a lot of corrective behavior. And there's not a lot of liquidity to sort of move it, right, to the upside. So what happens is the market makers, they push it to the downside, breaking all of these stop losses in here, right? So that people go short, right? And then it basically grabs all that liquidity. People are very bearish. But in reality, it actually ends up being one of the best buys, right? So, if you have $10 million and you want to buy Bitcoin and you're trying to buy it right there, you can't do it because your order won't get filled. So you have to wait either for a breakout to the upside or a breakdown. And a lot of times the guys who control a lot of the money, they don't want to pay higher prices. They want to pay lower prices. So what do? They sort of, trade it to the downside. And, when you break support, right? I mean, you had support coming all the way back over here, tons of support. It's going to create a big cascading move to the downside, right? And again, that gets everybody bearish. Everybody sells it. Everybody goes short. You have an influx of liquidity. And that's when they can fill their big $10 million order. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the shape they like to do. So that's why I'm saying I'm looking here at CRV. And I mean, come on. Again, I don't know what really CRV is. I know a couple friends of mine like it. They trade it. They think it's going to do well, so I'm not sure. But I just wanted to start this video by saying, hey, this could be a good indicator, not just for CRV, but for the whole market here, for a bottoming process to occur. Now, we could have this come back, to the upside in 3 waves, right? 1, 2, 3, and then still get that final wave to the downside, creating that bullish divergence. That could still happen, right? But what I'm saying is anywhere in this range, right, is a good buying opportunity. In my opinion, not financial advice, we want to see more evidence, but I think a good bottoming process is going to occur in here. So we'll keep an eye on CRV. Now that, this has been discovered, I haven't really paid attention to it, right? I'm trying to expand my horizon on more coins instead of the coins I usually look at, right? So again, if you have any coins you want me to look at, I know somebody commented CRV a while ago when I did a rapid fire video, and I looked at it, and it actually turned out to be a potential decent gem here, right? Especially because it's not that much of a supply, I don't think, on the market cap or on the supply standards. And then also, right, I mean, not only the supply, but the market cap is relatively low. So, and if we get a big 5th wave in Bitcoin, this could be a recipe for something getting going pretty good here, right? Because think back about Solana. Not too many people got in at the very, very, very low. I'm not saying CRV is going to be the new Solana. I don't think it'll be anywhere close. But if it can at least give a 10 or 20x, right? Then and then also, CRV is actually hasn't even done a wave 2 yet, or a wave 3 yet, which means it still has wave 3 to go, which means that, because a lot of the coins are working on their wave 4s, right? So they all had, like, for example, we can bring this back over here, 1, 2, and this is going to be 3, where a lot of coins have already completed, like, for example, Bitcoin here has already completed 1, 2, 3, right? Now it's in 4, and then we want to get 5, right? So if we do get that 5th wave to the upside, and I'm going to show you a brand new count I've never shown here before in Bitcoin, but if we do get that wave to the upside, looking at coins like Theta, right, where Theta came back and it essentially back tested its low here, right? But looking at this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, back testing the top of the range here. So if we get that 5th wave in Bitcoin, we could get a big 3rd wave, or even a 5th wave, right? Maybe it's simply a 1, 2, 3 instead of a 1, 2, 1, 2. But regardless, getting a wave up here back into the retracement level, so that we have a solid look to it, right? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even a 1, 2, 1, 2. This gets 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? Depending on what it is, but we don't have to know that at this moment. So that's one way to look at it. Another way is to say, well, Theta had 5 waves down, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means you need a 3-wave pullback, something like this. We come up here and get a B wave, and then it could be a flat as well. So if we get up here, above 90%, this could turn into reaccumulation, and then we go. So essentially rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. So as it stands right now, that is my main count for Theta. Okay, so that is breaking news. That is, right, that is a big deal, because I haven't really talked about exactly what my main idea has been, although I have been saying that, we want to get up here into the retracement levels. So somehow, some way, it needs to get up there, right? So that's idea number 1. the other idea, right? Obviously, there's always really three ideas: the very bullish one, the very bearish one, and then sort of in the middle, right? So the one I just shared is in the middle. So the very bullish one is this is a 1-2, 1-2, and we're creating a little base in here, and we're about ready to have a monster third wave out of here, right? So that is the bullish idea, and that could very well happen if Bitcoin, starts to turn around and break to the upside, right? And there's actually a count that supports that with Bitcoin. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So we have Theta here, right? That was we had rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout. Basically an A, B, C, right? But instead of the ABC coming down in here, we actually sort of go into reaccumulation somewhere in the middle in here, right? Hold support, then go up. So that would be the idea that I would think has the most probability. The other idea, obviously, is 1-2, 1-2, and we just start flying to the upside. Now, obviously, there's got to be conviction in that. We'll see if that goes. But the bearish idea, and it's not really bearish, but here it is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We come up in 3 waves for a B wave, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get a simple, right? Instead of this being an ABC, it becomes more complex, and then the whole thing becomes an A. This whole thing is just A, then we get B, then we get C, then we sort of create a little base here, and then we blow up to the upside. And that would make sense from a seasonality perspective as well. So, but I don't really like that too much because we only have 3 waves. I would have liked to seen this ABC, but 1 wave higher, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then get the big ABC, right? And then get that ABC. So that's why I'm a little bit, kind of on the fence about that. So we're just going to have more data. But really, that's what it's going to come down to. And then you say, well, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. Well, overall, it's going to go up. But in the short term, it also could be going up as well. So we'll jump into the short term here. So essentially, we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we get one more wave to the downside, then that could be the finishing up here, and then we get some bullish divergence here. So if we go to the daily chart, right, I've talked about this, put on the RSI, because that's kind of what we want to see. We want to see a lot of evidence and a lot of confluence in it being the bottom. So if we do, this thing can come up a little bit higher. It can actually get up all the way to $1.90 and then come back down. But I think if it gets that high, I don't think it'll take the low. But regardless, if this thing comes down and makes one more low and the RSI, right, comes down but makes a higher low, then you're going to get bullish divergence here, right? And that's going to be an incredible buying opportunity for the price of Theta. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that develops. But again, the low could already be in. Now, if it really depends on what Bitcoin's going to do. And let me jump into Bitcoin now. So, first of all, right, these 2 black lines I put here back a while ago, it's the price is essentially back in that zone, which is a very, very good thing. The price also held the bull market support band, which is a very, very good thing, right? So there's a couple things that could happen here on the price of Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you the brand new idea here, right? So get ready. But let's just recap here a little bit. The first idea is that this is a simple ABC, right? And then we probably go into reaccumulation, and then we go to the upside. That's one way to look at it. But the other way is to say, yeah, it's still an ABC, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need 5. Right? We need 5 waves down to complete that wave C. So let me just put that right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, this is 4, and then we need 5, right? Without taking out this low here. Hopefully we don't take that low out. And then what we have is potentially, you know, it could be a flat, right? Where the B wave needs to go up at least 90%, in which it did, and then also come down in 5 waves, which it's potentially doing. So if this comes up, you can see the RSI came up, and if we have one more low to the downside, right? If we have one more low, and it doesn't even have to be a big wave, it could just be a slight, you know, here's the low right here. It could be slightly lower than that, whatever the case is, right? And it usually, the higher it goes up, which it, you know, it went up pretty decent here. It actually bottomed out at 58.4, and it got as high as 63.6. So that's a pretty decent pullback, right? Or a pump to the upside. So if we do come down in that 5th wave, it probably won't be big. It'll be small. It'll slightly take out the low. But the important thing is, if the RSI comes up, right, which it already did, and then it comes back down, right, you're making a higher low. So you can see right here, let me just get rid of all of this. So you can see here's the low for the RSI, which is in oversold territory, which, by the way, hasn't happened in about a year. The RSI has not gone into oversold territory in about 1 year. That's a long time in not going oversold. So that is a big deal, and that also offers, you know, a good amount of opportunity, right? So if the RSI comes down, it makes a higher low, but the price makes a lower low, right? This is going down, this is going up. That's bullish divergence. That's what I just shared with Theta. So that's what I'm saying. That would be an incredible buying opportunity, right? So that's why, you know, hit the like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think, right? And also hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be, you know, once this goes down, if it goes down, I'm definitely going to be talking about it, posting about it, right? But as it stands now, you know, it's kind of a wait and see thing. So the other idea, the one that I haven't shared before, I'm still going to show you that idea. But the other 3-wave move is if this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what do we have? We have a 3, 3, 3, which is a WXY. So we have 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. So usually a WXY, it goes below. So what we could have here, it's ugly as crap, but it would be a truncated Y, which a truncated 5th or a truncated Y means the Y didn't break below the W, right? But we still had 3. We still had 3. This is a kind of an elongated 3, right? You kind of want the 3 to be, you know, in the middle. The fact that the 3 looks more like that, where this is more long here, begs the question, well, maybe this is a 3rd wave before you get that 5th wave. That's what I'm saying. So either a WXY or an ABC with bullish divergence. Those are the 2 ideas. Now, the big idea that I think has a very good shot here is what else could be 333. It could potentially be, ladies and gentlemen, this is very bullish, by the way. We have an A, we have a B. This could be C already, and now we're going up for wave D, and then we're going to come down and get wave E, and then we're going to explode to the upside, right? So that could be a big deal here. So what this is a triangle. It could be either an ascending triangle or a symmetrical triangle. Now, the way we're going to know here, right, we're going to know pretty soon here, right? Because a triangle, you need 3 waves in each wave. So wave A has 3, wave B has 3, wave C has 3. We still need D and E. So this is the proper time, right? I was hesitant at doing it first, but this is the proper time for me to share this new idea with you, that this could be somewhat of a triangle here. So what we're going to want to see here, you know, we already have a little bit of a wave here. We definitely want to get back up here, right? Something like this, and then pull back, right? So, and then come back up for that final wave. Now, if wave D goes up 90% of wave B, right? So I don't think I have it on my fib here, but essentially, if wave D, guys, if wave D hits, you know, the 886 around 70, 71K, then that means it's going to be incredibly bullish for a fifth wave, because that will mean it's more of an ascending triangle. So you have two triangles. Well, you actually have more, but for this case, you have either a symmetrical triangle, right, which is like this. Let me just draw it here. So a symmetrical triangle is like this, where you have A, B, C, D, E, and then you break out. An ascending triangle, right, basically all the highs are equal to each other. So you have A, B, C, D, E as well. But a symmetrical, an ascending triangle breaks out a lot higher. It has a much more velocity to the upside as a symmetrical. So, you know, this might not even be a triangle. So we'll have to see. But if we go up here, guys, if we go up here in three waves, I know a lot of people are going to be bearish, right? Because that's a corrective wave. You know, they're going to probably think that this is 1, 2, and then we go up for 3, and then we're going to come down for wave 5. But the problem with that is, if we do come up here, that wave's going to be much too big for it to be a fourth wave. So it's most likely a wave D. So then after we, you know, get up here, right, back up to that 69K area or wherever it's going to go, then we get another 3 waves back down, and then we go to the moon. So that's basically, guys, this is kind of the new main idea here. And basically it's the same idea we've always had, but it's just labeled a little bit differently, right? So the main idea we've always had is what? Somehow, some way that this is reaccumulation. So we have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and then we go sideways, and then we break out. So that's been the main idea. So if this comes back up and then it comes back down, like A, B, C, D, E, symmetrical triangle, breakout, it's still technically, this is technically still reaccumulation. So regardless of that, as long as we don't break this low, right, and as long as it still remains corrective in here, this is still being looked at as a fourth wave, right? So then when I zoom all the way out, look what we have here, right? Because it's unlikely for this to be a flat, right? Why? Because this was a flat. If you have a wave, if you have a flat inside of wave 2, then chances are wave 4 is going to be a regular correction, or it could be a triangle, right? So that's why I was a little bit hesitant on that. But regardless of that, you can see, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have this big box here, right? A, B, C, this big base. Same thing here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have this big base here. So that's normal, right? So you come up, wave 1, come back down, wave 2, come back up, wave 3, and now we're in wave 4, right? And where do triangles usually appear? If you've been following my channel, you know exactly where triangles appear. They can appear in a fourth wave. They can appear in an X wave, right? So, but they usually appear in a fourth wave, right? So this is a fourth wave. So it could very well be a triangle, in which case we would come up and get wave 5. And then once, you know, if we start breaking out here, right, going back to like things like CRV and other coins we've already talked about, you know, they can get some pretty big velocity here, especially if this, you know, comes like that, and then we get something like this, right? And then let's say we top out at 100K, and now we're kind of going into distribution in here, right? So all of that distribution, like the retracements in here, that can bring a very beautiful, strong alt season, right? Because God knows we all need some relief, right? God knows we all need an alt season, right? So let's hope that, we can get one here. But in order for us to get one, it's going to require Bitcoin to complete this fourth wave and for us to get that fifth wave. Because at that moment, if we break out of here with a fifth wave, everybody's thinking the bull run just started. But in reality, it's actually going to end, which is kind of sad, right? Because that's what we needed here. We needed that 5 waves, right? And we got it, right? So right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're in 5. And in wave 5, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're basically at the fifth of the fifth here. So, if it breaks out, we're going to be going into expansion and also price discovery, which means what? Which means now there's a lot more risk, risk on, pedal to the metal, blast off, right? And that's where that's where the altcoins do the best, is when Bitcoin finally breaks out here, right? So for example, Theta didn't even have a really big bull run until Theta got to the top here. I mean, you can see, look at Bitcoin. It's been going up, 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 and then here it is the very, very top. But once you got to the very top, that's when Theta, look right here, that's where Theta had that big bull cycle, right? I mean, you can see candle after candle after candle after candle, massive pump. And where did that pump take place? At the top of the fifth wave in distribution. So that's exactly what's happening now, right? So you can see, where Theta is relative to where the rest of the market is, right? How it was a flat line and then it just exploded. Same thing here. Here's a flat line. You can see you have that first initial pump right here. Same thing here. You have that first initial pump, right? So, if this turns into a triangle A, B, C, D, E, and then it breaks out, what would that look like for Theta? Well, just real quick here, let me take everything off the screen so we can kind of do a side-by-side, a little bit of a comparison here. So A, B, C, D, E, and then it breaks out to that fifth wave, right? So if we get that D wave, Theta is probably going to get back up here. If we get that E wave, it's probably going to consolidate here. And then if Bitcoin gets that fifth wave, right, you have already an inverse head and shoulders here on Theta, right? So Bitcoin gets that fifth wave, Theta goes into a monster, either 1, 2, 1, 2, and now it's going into that third wave, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then Bitcoin kind of pulls back, maybe hits the high one more time, and then goes into distribution. So if that's the case for Theta, right, either Theta is going to spend a lot of time here in the retracement levels, because that's the big thing. We don't know if Theta is going to get past the retracement levels. That's what we want, for Theta to go into an expansion, for it to break above the new all-time high. And when I say Theta, I'm talking about all the cryptos that are in Theta's position, like Matic, like Filecoin, like Theta Fuel and XRP and ADA, right? Ethereum, and even the new one that I got my eye on is CRV. So, but yeah, there's not a lot of room or percentage potential here for Bitcoin, right? So, but I do think another high is coming, which means if we do get that other high, we're going to get a bigger pump into Theta. So I would imagine Theta gets back to, actually let's get to Theta here on the regular chart. And then let me take this off right here. And you can see this area right here, the top of this, so about $10 down to about $5. So between $5 and $10, let's just say here, right? So if Bitcoin does get that fifth wave to the upside, there's no doubt that I would believe that this thing, right, if it, if it is a triangle, we could see something like this, and then maybe a pullback, right? That could be essentially rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation sideways, like I just mentioned. But then you get back up here, right, into the retracement levels. Bitcoin's, going up in its fifth wave, and the most difficult thing Theta has to do, right, when Bitcoin breaks out, is get above this cluster here between $5 and $10. So it might spend a little bit of time here. So that's, let me just switch back over to Bitcoin here and show you. Once Bitcoin goes into, somewhat of a distribution, because this is all speculation. I don't know how it's going to exactly look. But if it is a triangle, we do come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we kind of go into some kind of distribution range in here, right? So the first part, Bitcoin or Theta gets up into its retracement levels right about there. And then it probably pulls back somewhere in here. And then when you finally have that hit to the high or the retracement where you come down and then you make the big retracement here, that first initial crash, and then you go into a retracement, that's where a lot of the rotations can occur, right? So let me put it back on Theta here, right? So if we Bitcoin breaks out into that fifth wave, gets up in here, and then Bitcoin hits the high, maybe it breaks out a little bit, and then it kind of bull flags back down. But then once it kind of goes into distribution or goes into that retracement, then we literally don't have much time left, and we get that final push to the upside to create that fifth wave, right? So then what we have is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 4, 5, something like that, where we get up here. Now, it's not going to look like the way I've drawn it. It could be a lot faster. It could take a lot longer. But considering that Bitcoin is, probably from now till I would say between now and next spring is kind of our window of opportunity, right? Because Bitcoin, depending on how Bitcoin wants to correct. Now, this is all contingent on the bull thesis, right? So we can still get a bigger correction for Bitcoin. For example, this can come down A, B, C, all the way back down to like 40, 50K here, or 50K, and then go up, which would take a little bit more time, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe pull back a little bit, hit the high. So you're looking at, the way I've drawn it, maybe around February, March of next year. So just to try to get a little visual here, February, March of next year, we get up here, we break out. I mean, the goal here for Theta is to get back between $5 and $10 between October and December. So that's something I've never said before. So the big goal for Theta is to get between $5 and $10 between October and December. So I want to see Theta break above, well, really, I would say about $4.50, right? So between $4.50 and say $9. So right in there, right? So if Bitcoin gets that fifth wave, we can get up here. And then once Bitcoin goes into distribution, it probably goes down. And then if Bitcoin gets a big retracement, then we can actually break out of that fifth wave and actually go into expansion. And you can see it actually doesn't take that long, right? So let me actually, you can see, this thing, it doesn't take that long, right? Because if you look at Theta it went from 75 cents December all the way up to $15 in March. Like, wow, that's, you know, January, February, March. That's like 3 months of just going incredible. So, you know, the longest part is actually not the end part. The longest part is actually getting through the retracement levels. So once Theta gets through these retracement levels up in here, right? Let's say we get back up in here and we finally break through them and then break out. Then at that point, it doesn't take that long for, you know, for us to reach those price targets above the all-time high, right? So let me just put the retracement up here real quick. Yeah, we're looking at, you know, getting above $11. I mean, we're looking at $26, $27 for the price of Theta here. So it's looking good. But we just don't know if it's going to be ABC, 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 right? It could be 3 down. We could come all the way up and then come back down, then go up. And if we do that, it could be a very strong impulse to the upside here. And then we kind of hit the high again, right? Similar to how this one did. So, I mean, you can see back over here, it comes up, goes sideways, breaks out, goes sideways, breaks out. You know, Theta doesn't really have big pullbacks here on the last one. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how all of that plays out. So, that's about it for Theta. Let me just go to the small time frames. We can talk about that real quick, and let me switch gears over to XRP, and then we'll see. Okay, so, you know, for the 1 hour chart on Theta, right, obviously we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we talked about we had an ABC pullback, and then it kind of looks like we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a truncated wave, but I don't know about that. But we basically had this wave 1, wave 2, wave 1, wave 2. So this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2 here, right? We had an ABC, right? So this thing could be another 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe hit the high for wave 5, right? So as it stands now, it's just an ABC, right? So this could be continuing to make its way back down to the lower part of the range. That's why, you know, the small time frames are always kind of difficult, especially when they just bottomed out here and they're kind of just bouncing up here erratically. I've always said it's either going to come, you know, create a base down in here, which wouldn't be a bad thing, right? We come up and we come back down, maybe make a little Wyckoff pattern and then break out, right? The other idea is for us to come down and take the low, create that bullish divergence, and then go. But, you know, it kind of looks like, you know, right at this moment that the low could be in here and we just need a little bit of a pullback. Now, I would like to see this thing come up and hit the high, right? Because then what do you have? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a diagonal here, right? So then I would look for a big ABC pullback, maybe all the way down here, back at $1, you know, $47, $50, you know, between $1.40, $1.50, and that would be a good place to go long. So if we get a pump up here to $1.70, $1.80, even $1.90, I want to see a big three-way pullback, and that would basically be a big range in here, right? So then when we zoom out, you can kind of see, you know, something similar right here, right? And then also right here. You know, hashing out this bottoming process. Look how long it took to bottom here. And by the way, here's another fractal here for CRV. See, look at this. Notice how, right? And if you didn't watch this, if you skipped ahead of the video, definitely watch the CRV, because I think, you know, not financial advice, but I think this could be a big winner here, guys. And I don't say that often. I've actually never say that. Except for obviously Theta, right? And maybe a few others. But for CRV, you know, I think this could be a big opportunity. But basically right here, you can see how the fractal came out, right? So let me actually take a screenshot of that, and you can see what the end result was, right? It came down, had this big pump, and then it shot to the upside. So let me put it right there, take a screenshot, and then let me show you this, right? So you guys remember this. This is the CRV chart here where we basically made that low. This is actually the macro chart though, right? And then we were comparing it with Bitcoin, same thing. That was the absolute low. This is the fractal here. And then same thing here with Bitcoin. And now look at this here with Theta. It's same kind of thing. When it gets down here, it feels like it's the low. It's ranging, it bounces. It looks like a descending triangle, but then it just comes down and breaks one more low, but that ends up being the best buying opportunity of a lifetime. And that was actually around that 86-cent level. So that was the absolute low there for Theta on that wave 2 pullback. So, and then that was also the absolute low here for Bitcoin, right? But you can see it actually had one more low. It came down, it bounced up, it actually made one more low. And then it also was the absolute low here for Bitcoin again. So, but you can see it actually came up, and you can see right here, it actually, here's the low, or here's the low, it made a slightly lower low, right? And then you had that bullish divergence. So that's kind of what I want to see, you know, for CRV, and I want to see Bitcoin complete that triangle, right? So, you know, just to recap here, I want to see, you know, Bitcoin create or finish up this triangle or this correction or whatever it's going to be, right? I'm glad that it's back above the bull market support band. A, B, C, D, E, go. So some kind of triangle in here. I want to see that develop. If we can get something like this over the next several weeks or basically this whole month of July, it's going to look really good for the altcoins here. And then for the altcoins, I want to see basically one more low or hash out a bottoming process, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. But all in all, you know, hash that out and then eventually get our way back up here. So you can see this was the breakdown point right here at $1.90. So $1.90 is the most critical area for Theta, right? So, you know, depending what happens here is going to be critical. So if we get up here and then we have a strong rejection, I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. But I think we'll get up here, we'll have a pullback, right? So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be a three-wave move, right? So then if we get another three-wave move down, we're going to want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then get that ABC, and then hopefully, you know, break out of all of this consolidation in here, right? So that would be the absolute low. And then you also have that same kind of thing fractal for Theta as well. If I just put this right here, right, you can kind of see it as well. You know, you're coming down. You have that first initial crash. You think it's over, but it's actually coming back down here to grab some of that liquidity. So, yeah, similar to what Bitcoin did, right? It had that final low. Same thing back over here, and there's other examples as well. But yeah, I think it's at a very interesting position. All right, as far as the Bitcoin small time frames, I mean, we already kind of talked about that. So far, we only have 3 waves. Boom, 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 right? And by the way, it did work out too. You know, the last video, if you remember here, let me get rid of the bull market support band. We had, right, that spike to the upside. and I said I want to see a three-way pullback. We got the three-way pullback, and then I said I want to get us back to the top of the range. We got back to the top of the range, and then I said I want to see us break out, and we got the breakout, right? So what's happening now? It could be some kind of ABC pattern like this, where we come down and back test, hopefully get another high, or it could be done. This could be an ABC here, where we have essentially A come down for B, and then we get C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe for wave C. So we had a three-wave move for wave C, which implies we need to come down and make one more wave. But if we come down here and we start kind of leveling off, it could be just we're creating a base or some kind of Wyckoff pattern before we go higher, right? So in order for the triangle pattern to work, we have to hold this low. So we're going to find out this week if that's going to be the case or not, which is definitely exciting. So that's really about it for the Bitcoin small time frame. You know, this thing could get a little bit impulsive as well. I mean, you can see the retracement levels. If I put it right there to the down here, you know, we could get up here to about, you know, around that 50% 618, somewhere in this golden zone, as they like to call it, right? So maybe we get a little bit of a pullback, and then we work our way back up here. And I would like that, because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a little bit of a diagonal, and then you get that ABC, and then you have another 5 up, and that would actually create the D leg, right, in the ABCDE. So that would create, right, A, B, C, D, right, because we need 3 and D, 1, 2, 3, and then come down 3 and E, and then go. A good, you know, and wave E can actually be way up here. It doesn't have to come all the way down. You know, back in the day when, you know, Bitcoin made that E, this was also a triangle, right, where we had A, B, C, D, and this little thing right here was wave E. It was a three-wave move, right? So A, B, C, D, E, which that was the triangle there. So that's about it here. Let's jump into total 3 real quick. Same thing with total 3, you know. We want to wait and see if this support holds in here. It looks like a decent three-wave move. It didn't take out these wicks here, but it looks like a decent three-way move for at least somewhat of a retracement, you know. But I think it's kind of pointless to look at it right now. We're just going to have to wait for Bitcoin. Is there anything else I want to see? So remember that Algorand fractal I shared a little while ago? I'm still taking it seriously. Where you could see, you know, Algorand came up here. You can see where the green is, and then it had that final push to the downside, kind of like, you know, even CRV, right, or whatever. But basically that finishing move, you can see that here as well in Algorand, right? But even so on ADA, so you can see that same thing going on here, right? Let me just put this right there, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 waves down, and now you're starting to curl back up here. So what did Algorand do? So you can see Algorand came down, right here, and it actually made one more low here, and then it came up, and then it kind of like bull flagged its way out. So let me draw that on ADA so we can get a visual. Yep, 10-4. I got a visual on the suspect. So, you know, same kind of thing, right? We have that, you know, we could still get one more low, like what Algorand did, right? Had one more low, and then it came up, and then it kind of did something like this, and then it sort of really took off. So there we go. Yeah, something like this, and then continue higher. So, but, you know, at the end of the day, it could be finished, right? It could be finished as well. So we have this area up here. A lot of times the price likes to come back up to the top and then make one more low, But if that's the top here, then we want to see it, you know, flag out in here and then continue higher like that. So, you know, this, you know, let's wait and see if we got some good opportunities here. It's kind of, I wouldn't buy it now. I mean, we already hit that low pretty deep here. We already came back up, so I kind of missed that opportunity. As far as XRP goes, I mean, we're still kind of in a triangle. It kind of looks like, you know, a little bit of a rising wedge here. It might need to break down. I mean, this could be a 1, 2, 1. I mean, I don't really like it though. So if this is kind of a diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of like a rising wedge, we want to see it break down, and that would be a good buying opportunity to go long if that's the case. And then you also have, it could be also maybe a triangle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Finish up that fifth wave. And then you also even have a triangle here, right? You know, it's full of triangles. And then when you zoom out even more, it's kind of like a triangle again. So yeah, just, and then also, you know, looking at this like Wyckoff as well. So there we go. So there's the Wyckoff XRP chart. You can kind of see we're actually something like this, and then, you know, hashing out a bottom in here, maybe even coming down here and taking out the low and then coming back up, right? You can see this area right here, similar to this over here. So if this is Wyckoff, right, we have the, you know, the qualifications here, but we really want to see this start to round out. So I went over that hour mark. Please hit that like button to help out with the algos. When I go over an hour, it kind of kills the algo. So very much appreciate that. That'll do it for this video. All in all, everything's looking pretty good. I think, you know, incredible opportunities are here and are here / coming, right? I mean, again, real quick here with CRV. If we have one more hit to the low here, I think we're going to develop a base, flag out, and then eventually break out. And I think it's going to be a big third wave if it plays out, right? I mean, we have all of the wave structure here. I mean, the last bull cycle, we went up, you know, about 2,000%, about a 20x. So if that was, you know, a wave one or whatever, this could be even a bigger wave here. So you know, we have that 1, 2, 3 wave shape. I'm just not sure if this 3 wave needs a little bit lower to go. But all in all, I mean, you know, compared to the rest of the altcoins, I think this one's got a decent shot. Now, I have the right to change my mind. If I don't like what I'm seeing a little bit later on, I can definitely switch it up. But as it stands right now, I think it could potentially, now this is contingent on Bitcoin and things like that. And again, it's not going to happen overnight, right? This is the macro chart here. So in order for this bottom to get formed, it could take at least, you know, maybe 2 or 3 months here for the bottom to actually form before you start breaking out of it, right? But, you know, it is crypto, so things do go very fast when least expected. So, but anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and hit that like and drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Is there any coins you want me to take a look at? And are there any new AI coins out there? I'm always on the hunt for the new best thing, right? I just think back, you know, to Solana when that thing came out. Imagine getting in on that when it first came out, right? I mean, that would have been an amazing, life-changing type of situation. So the next expansion phase, the next bull phase, there's going to be coins like Solana, maybe not as big, but in that same realm of massive price potential. So if there's any new coins out there that have a lot going for it, that is still relatively cheap, Let me know in the comment section which ones you're looking at. Which coins do you think have a really good chance at giving at least a 20x potential? Someone said ICP, and I'm, not the meme coins, but let's see, there's a lot of them here. Like this one, not even sure about, but it had a 5-way move. It had a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, right? But it is kind of expensive. ICP, not sure. The fundamental side, I'm not really good on. But the technical side, right? If there's a good fundamental blockchain that's got a lot of funding, it's got a lot of